This is a 50-30 constructed game of sorcery played in Portland, Oregon at the Portland Game Store. Up top is my friend Jesse playing his Pathfinder deck, and then I am playing an Avatar of Air deck with a meta construction. So this is a mono air deck based around airborne creatures and just the ultra mobility that the Avatar of Air provides. Jesse starts by top decking from his Atlas the Ruins to get 1 Earth and 1 Fire threshold with the Pathfinder. And then I believe he's going to pass turn. I'm going to draw a site for turn. Looks like a free city, which is great. I think that's where I want to be with my setup here for sites. First site is going to be an observatory, and I get to look at the top 3 and rearrange. I see a ring coming up, which is great. Love to see that. And then a bats for some early minion curve as well. And I believe I already have a bats in my hand too. I do. So I'm playing a proxy there, which is Azur's Caravan, but it is proxying as a core. I do end up swapping that out. I had a core in another deck. I didn't want to have to hot swap between decks while playing at the store. Passing turn back to Jesse. He is playing an Updraft Ridge from his Atlas and moving forward to the middle. And then he passes turn, so he doesn't have a 2-drop. Or he doesn't have a 2-drop that he wants to play right now. I do see that he has both horses. He's a courser and he has a war horse in his hand, but at this point, without our sites connected, there's nowhere for them to move. So my second site, I'm going to play that free city that I pulled turn 1, which I was happy to see. And I'm going to put that in the center of the grid. And the placement on that feels pretty good to me, just because if I can get it centrally located, it's a lot easier for me to maneuver in and then potentially push in any minions that he could create on the board. I do play a Pillsbury Bats and then pass turn to him. So right now he's about to start his turn, but he had some questions about Free City, so we're just talking through those. In terms of if he moves into Free City, it's a move and not an attack, can Free City intercept? And the answer is no, because Free City, the site ability only allows for attack and defend actions. It doesn't allow for intercept action, which is a separate type. But I think he has some other specific questions about intercepting and defending too. It's just like the bats could intercept something coming into the site. So I think he is wondering if the bats intercept, could Free City then defend based off of the intercept. And I think we weren't 100% sure at the time, but thinking about it like now with hindsight, the answer is no to that question as well. You cannot defend in response to one of your minions intercepting. So he plays the Warhorse. He carries his Pathfinder forward. Which leaves his Pathfinder untapped, so he can now use his tap ability to pull a card off of his Atlas. We're going to see that. And he pulls out an Oasis. And then he has to move to it as part of the Pathfinder ability. 3 mana for turn. Or no, one mana left. But he passes back to me. I'm going to tap for a sight. And I'm going to play the Cloud City. Free City attacked the Warhorse to get that off the board. Pelsbury Bats moves forward and attacks for 2. I have 3 mana for turn. And I'm going to play out my Highland Princess. Now, I pulled my core already. I pulled my ring. The only other things in the deck worth taking are the Torse Hammer trinkets, so I go ahead and grab that. Torse Hammer trinkets, fairly strong if you can get into your hand, especially early on. With that in your hand, on my turn, the bats, for example, essentially they threaten for 3 points of damage. That was my play. I'm going to pass turn back. And looking back on that, I suppose I could have layered that a little differently to get the Torse Hammer out first, and then get 1 extra point of damage on the bat that turn. I just didn't think about it at the time. Jesse taps for a Dark Tower. He's going to get the Genesis effect, so he's going to get that additional mana. 5 mana for turn. He's thinking about his options here. With his Pathfinder deck, he has a lot of mobility, as you can see. Like he's running both of those horses, and he has a lot of other movement tricks built into the deck. And it's designed to get the Pathfinder into position, so it can then continue to tap down and potentially box you in and cap out the number of sites that you're physically allowed to play. So one of the requirements for a typical site placement is that you have to be able to play it adjacent to a site that you already control. And if you can't meet those requirements, then you get stuck and kind of get capped out in terms of the number of sites you can control this game and the amount of mana that you can generate. So right now I'm thinking about tapping for a site, just trying to decide where to go. And then, I'm thinking about whether or not I want to be on the left or the right here. He's already boxed me in on the right side. But I decide to move the Cloud City. I do have 3 threshold for that ability. And then I play a Mirror Realm, targeting the Observatory, so I can look at the top 3 cards of my deck again and reorder. And so I see the minions and then the Philosopher's Stone on there. The Philosopher's Stone is not going to do me any good in the immediate future, so I pitched that one to the third from the top. And I did see a Winged Pegasus coming up next, which is going to be a 3 power for 3, which is what I want here. So I played the Torse Hammer onto the Highland Princess and attack in for 2 extra points of damage. And then play another bat for my hand. And then pass turn. So at this point, if Jesse wants to tap for a site, he either if he taps for a site where he is, he can only move back 1 square. But he does still have a fine courser in his hand, and he could play that out, and he could use that to move back to a different location, either to the Oasis or to Free City. And then that would give him some additional site options, square options on where to place site. He does also have a teleport in his hand. Looks like he's about to play it. So he's going to choose to teleport back to Free City. And then he's going to tap for his ability. And he top decks a field with Camlin off of his Atlas, which is, I think, unfortunate for me. I don't have a ton of huge minions on the board, but I do have 3, and Field of Camelon is going to make me choose one and then pitch the rest. Highland Princess, one of the bats, goes to the cemetery. So that was a lucky board wipe that Jesse managed to pull from the top of his Atlas. But now it's my turn again, and I'm going to pull out that Pegasus that we saw from the observatory. I'm going to play out the ring because he is near me again, and I want to start getting in that additional damage from casting spells with the ring. So I play a Pegasus onto my Free City. It's a central location on the grid. I ping him for 1 from the ring, and then I attack with the bats for 2. And then since my avatar hasn't gone yet, I go ahead and tap for a site. I think in retrospect, what I could have done is I could have flown the Avatar of Air up to the fields of Camelon, and then used its ability. Oh, never mind. No, when you use the ability with the Avatar of Air, you have to be on an air site. So I'd have to use the ability to be on the air site first, and then I'd be on Field of Camelon, which wouldn't net me any benefit. Jesse top decks a Shifting Sand, which isn't going to do him any good on the Genesis because he hasn't played any deserts yet. And he's choosing to stick close to me. So he's playing that right next to my observatory on the back row. Then he has to move there as part of the ability. A 6 mana for turn, and he's gonna play a Siege Giant, and he plays it on the back, on his back row on his home site. I'm not entirely sure why he chose to do that. Maybe it's just because I think he was thinking about having an option to defend with the bats, but the bats have a lot of diagonal options to go to. They can go to the Oasis, they can go to Fields of Camelon. On this turn, I believe I'm doing a lot of mental math because I think I can get him to door with what I have out, because I have the ring. So I'm just making sure it adds up before I commit here, because if I can get him to door, like any opportunity you have to take someone to door, it's usually worth taking. It puts a lot of pressure on them, and it really limits the moves that they are able to make on their subsequent turn, or else they're going to get checkmated. How I do it is I play the Magic Missiles. The ring pings for 1. Magic Missiles does 3 points of damage, so 4 points total to his avatar. I play the Torsihammer Trinket, which is going to ping for 1. And then the bats will swing for 3. And then I'm going to attack with the Pegasus. And he's in a very tough spot to try to get away from. So unless he had something like a blink or a teleport to get further away, it was going to be real difficult for him. I don't even think a blink would have helped at that point, because the Avatar of Air could fly nearby and still be able to tap and do a point of damage. The airborne minions on Fields of Camelon are threatening where the site he's on right now, and they can reach Observatory, Free City, Updraft Ridge. So I mean, I think he doesn't have a ton of places to go. Like he can't go to Field of Camelon, he can't go to Observatory, he can't go to Free City, because Free City can just attack him too. And he can't tap down and run into the corner, because the airborne minions will just fly to him. So I think at this point he's also regretting putting the Siege Giants all the way back defensively on his home site. It might have been a slightly stronger position to put the Siege Giant cast it onto the site that he played next to Observatory. That would at least give him the option to be able to throw the Pathfinder somewhere. But I think he's out of movement tricks, unfortunately. No, he still has the Fine Courser. He's trying to think about whether or not there is an escape avenue, and I think he can't see a way out. Oh, okay. So now he's saying he's going to go ahead and concede, but his plan before was to be able to play the Rolling Boulder and then have the Giants push the Rolling Boulder down to clear out my minions. It was fun to play against a Pathfinder. You don't see that across the table that often. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.